we're back, everybody. Welcome back to Words with Wayman. I'm your host, as always, Matt Wayman. Here with me, special part 2, Andy Juett, everybody.
We're back.
We're
Segment 2.
back.
First
Segment
one,
2.
Hot and fresh. A lot of upbringing talk.
A lot of family issues talk, everybody. We're here. As always, follow us online at Words with Wayman on Twitter, Words with Wayman on Facebook. Yeah, we were talking about you going off to college, blowing a bunch of money like we all do.
Yep.
And learning about yourself, having the kid, moving back to Michigan.
Totally.
Living in an apartment, and having to grow up fast.
Yeah.
Being forced to.
Had to get to it quick, baby. Well, endured a lot of the entire catalog of my friends rocking out for, 10 to 15 years to present for some people.
Yeah.
And then now they're all having kids and getting married and stuff like
I'm
that.
sure.
So it's, just doing things backwards. But like my daughter will be a college student after this year.
Wild.
She's a senior, and so I'll be 38 and have a daughter in college, which is intense.
Which is probably better that you still got, so many years to be.
I am grizzled out.
Yeah.
I'm futon grizzled. I'm ridden hard and put away wet. Is that right? I have no idea.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Like a Bruce Springsteen, leather-faced, like Wild Hogs 3.
Yeah, Wild Hogs 3.
I got some emotional
Didn't
chaps.
want to make the movie. Was forced to make the movie.
Needed the money.
So bad.
The Martin Lawrence Blue Streak program. That's a good movie. I know that was a bad example. Anyway, who doesn't love it? Yeah, man, here we are. We made it to Denver, though.
Yeah, so what brought you out to Denver? You just needed it?
Just need. I needed it.
The cool Rocky Mountain air.
No, yeah, I needed it. No, okay, so after I went to Michigan State, I graduated. My ex had 1 year behind because she got pregnant, and we pretty much focused on that, and so she just got her degree the next year.
Okay.
So my... So I was there for 1 year in Lansing, Michigan. And so I was the president of the Michigan State University Advertising Association.
Yeah, big title.
But this all plays into the answer of why. But this job was to get speakers from Chicago, Detroit, Lansing in advertising and media every Monday for 40 Mondays to come speak to us. So I did that for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I knew everybody who could hire me. In the tri-state area.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this mentor of mine who was a media person in Lansing, was a great lady named Linda Griggs. Hi, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
She rules. She was to this group of radio stations that had Spartan basketball and all the cool stuff. It was a group of 6. It was a locally owned thing. I was like, this is dope. So I could hang out here and make good money and have, still be a part of Michigan State culture, because that's pretty much what there is to do there. And so. Did well there, and then my boss from that radio station, he was asked to come run radio stations in Colorado Springs.
Okay.
So after my first part of a year in radio, he said, hey, you want to help me come run these stations in Colorado Springs?
Yeah. And
because we had a connection, and we were party buddies also.
Which radio jets, from what I hear, are kind of hard to come by.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a different role because it was sales and management.
Yeah.
So sales, they just always need revenue. So I came in as an account executive with no pay.
Because you were making no money.
But I had it was commission incentived, and I sold a lot.
Yeah.
And so I did okay. And the guy asked me to come out run those stations in the Springs. So I ran Clear Channel in the Springs for 7 years, and introduced the hip hop station down there. There was no hip hop prior to.
Brilliant idea.
Yeah, I was anyway, that's actually how one of the reasons I ascended at all in radio, because the guy goes with the first station I managed, and I was 23 years old, I was the youngest manager of 10,000 people in Clear Channel.
Crazy.
He's he goes, what do you think we should do with this disaster of a 4th classic rock station in this market? And I said, you either need to sell I mean, this is a legend guy.
Yeah.
He was testing me.
Yeah.
And he's I said to this guy in front of all these totally old, wealthy, amazing media legends, you should either sell the company or sell the station, because it's a terrible signal.
Yeah.
Or you should put on hip hop. And all the demographics spoke against that, because it's fucking Colorado Springs.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It was a hole, and everyone listens to hip hop. It's fucking 2000, whatever it was. So anyway, ran stations in Colorado Springs for 7 years, got divorced. My ex moved to Parker, Colorado.
Okay.
She is remarried to a gentleman who has kids there, and that's all lovely. But I live in Denver. I moved to Denver because I want to be fiercely in my children's lives, and I coach my son's basketball team, and my daughter has a million activities and all these things, and I'm going to be a part of that,
of course,
as much as I can. Period.
So then that brought you into the Denver area, and then you got hooked up with this comedy scene was that something that happened pretty quickly after you moved up here?
When I got up here, I only know a handful of people. I actually didn't really know anybody. I was in Colorado Springs. I was on MySpace, and I knew what was happening. Do? Yeah, like you do back in the day, 06, 07, whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. That was the Facebook of the day.
Heck
and it had a lot more little angels with twinkle graphics.
Which I'm into.
Which
still,
I miss.
I don't get enough of these days.
Can we get a little angel child sitting on a dam that's about to blow with a smiley face?
If this podcast ever makes
saying,
money,
Have a great day?
That's what we'll get. That'll be number one on the list.
So I started writing comedy.
Yeah.
Because I could do that in Colorado Springs. At the end of my marriage.
Yeah.
And I wrote for Punchline Magazine. I was the humor columnist, which became Laugh Spin.
Okay.
And is, I think, going away. I think he's still shutting that company down.
Oh, really?
But I started writing really non sequitur absurdist things for Punchline Magazine.
Yeah.
That, did okay, I guess.
Heck yeah.
And then I started covering festivals for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the 2007 U.S. HBO Comedy Arts Festival.
Heck yeah.
And I knew some people, and I'd started, some people were aware of what I'd written. Were like, oh, it's funny, whatever. Actually, that was the first interaction I ever had with TJ Miller, who's a good friend of mine.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a MySpace message from him from 2006 where
nice.
We're talking about comedy and whatever. And it's like, oh, whatever. That's the weirdest thing now. It's like, now we're friends. He just got married. Wow. Anyway, the point is that after that festival, I was like, oh, this could be my life. I was like, oh, this is exactly the group of people that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I saw Anthony Jeselnik for the first time there, and where he was still really young also.
Oh, yeah, so funny.
But at that time, now he's, of course, acerbic and known for just well-constructed, just razor-sharp jokes, all those things. You're sort of maybe a little duller to it now because you're used to it.
Yeah.
But when he came out, it was like, whoa, this dude is
I remember I saw him in Columbia, Missouri, open up for Doug Benson one time, and I was like, who is this dude? It was insane.
It was insane. So there was those guys, like Fred Armisen, all these amazing people that were super nice, and I, at that point, was like, all right, well, this is that solidified that this is a feasible thing to pursue, because it was I'm already doing all this stuff, but I'm doing it part-time. So when I got to Denver, when I moved here, the first thing I did was I'd seen Chuck Roy at Comedy Works a bunch of times, because I used to come up to the club just to watch shows.
Oh, yeah.
Because my ex-wife and I would come. She liked comedy. It was cool. Yeah. But Chuck I thought was super hilarious.
He is super funny.
I was like, his crowd work was amazing. I thought it was magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him to go to Mongolian barbecue with me, shit. It's 2015 now, so what, 5 years ago? 2011, 2010? Yeah. I said, let's go to Mongolian barbecue. I'm going to buy you lunch, and we're going to talk about making shows together. And so we met in the parking lot across from Mongolian barbecue, didn't know each other, got high in my car, walked in, really we're just the riffiest, funny, silliest dickheads in line to get our Mongolian barbecue.
Yeah.
And then we started doing monthly shows, and we did 82 episodes of a podcast.
Oh, nice.
And all sorts of stuff. And so the first shows that I produced were because I reached out to Chuck and was just like, you're hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my footing as to who does what here.
Yeah.
And let's make some shows. And then started doing the Chuck Roy show at Castleman's.
Okay.
And it was fun. It was a blast.
Yeah, super, super funny guy. I heard those shows were always really good and super packed out and well attended.
Not all of them. Maybe you're making a hilarious joke.
No.
They're known shows because they were the first ones that had the Grolix dudes and the Los Comicos dudes had great promotions and flyers and all those things.
Yeah.
But other than those guys, there was somewhat of a vacuum of any marketing of any comedy at all outside Comedy Works.
Okay.
At least during that time.
Yeah.
And there was much more of a faction-based comedy group here.
Oh,
where it was
they were following people a little bit more?
They were just separated, I feel more.
Okay.
The Comedy Works comics were always connecting to each other, whatever, but there wasn't okay, this group of comics hung out with each other, this group of comics, and now it's just more of a, if there's any, maybe a little bit of sea changes, making more of these comics interact at these shows where I foolishly would book 20 fucking comics. Not literally, but
Yeah.
like 10 a show.
Yeah.
Which is way too long, of course.
Oh, but you don't know.
I was like, this guy's awesome, this girl's awesome, like blah blah blah. Like everybody, I was so pumped, dude. We had shows with 2 bands after an almost 2-hour comedy show. And the idea was to just be like, Chuck and I were like, yeah, dude, everyone will come because it's like,
it's like a whole night.
Utopia, yeah. They'll just experience 2 hours of too long comedy in a place that holds 600 people, that has 100 people, and then they'll see this band. Why wouldn't you?
But now you're doing like giant theaters and stuff like that. You're doing that Highplains festival, which many of those shows sold out, and
yeah,
I had the pleasure of being a part of one of the funnest festivals I've ever done in my entire life, by far.
Man. Well, you earned it.
So you've come from doing that, but I'm sure it was stuff that you had to learn putting on those little shows too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that the reason I have any acumen at anything now is because of not doing stuff quite right for a long time, and still not. We're all the works in progress thing, but
yeah, absolutely.
But like, I have 100,000 hours in raising children and creating media and creating and selling things. I've at least a master's, if not a doctorate level of media
I
shit. I
should be lecturing right now.
Yeah. And by the way, I left a job to do comedy, so great choice. But anyway, the point is that fuck, where were we going with this? I really just blew it.
No, we were just talking about how you got to this point now.
Oh, yeah. But then in comedy, it was literally one of the lessons. A dumb lesson that I learned at Boston College was my dad always. This is very cheesy. So back to my dad's quotes.
Good.
My dad always said, "Speak up." Okay, like he was big on that. It was like, don't mumble, whatever. Very politely raised.
Yeah,
all those things. And so I became friends with this dude in college because I spoke up, and they became all of my good friends. And so that was the most obvious time where I'm like, well, fuck, I just got to insert myself into shit, and the rest will figure itself out versus waiting on the sidelines for someone to invite me to the party.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to do these shows at a 500-person venue.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but we're going to like passionately pursue it, fuck up, do well.
Make sure we don't lose too much money, or make sure we make some money.
Yeah, it's all it's a survival game.
Yeah,
it's like it's definitely like the Castleman's thing led to the Gothic because we did shows for a year at the Gothic that were really fun.
Heck yeah, the Gothic's an awesome venue.
Yeah, so and that Gothic run for that year led to the subsequent year being the venue that we
Highplains
did our finale shows at. That and I did a lot of radio stuff with them too, so I just knew them from that. But
that's kind of a wild thing. But I mean, every past relationship that you have plays into that, but also makes the next shows better and better.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you just keep going. Like I don't have on the spectrum of things. Like I've produced a lot of stuff, I've written a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. I've started to direct some things and I learned a lot from doing an okay job the first couple times.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to do it again. And acted and all those things. And then stand-up's like something that I've started doing in the last couple years because I enjoy it. But it's an intimidating thing because all of my friends are the best ones.
Oh, that is
all of them.
Yes.
And so I don't have any lack of confidence that I am a clever person or funny or any of those things. But that gave me pause to kind of go, wait a second. When I first got here, was like, again, I was running radio stations, kids, all that stuff. So it was less about performing. It was just about making stuff.
Oh yeah,
that's like
getting stuff out there.
I like to make stuff. Period. Whatever it is. And so, and then it sort of evolved into more stuff. But anyway.
Plus, those guys have been doing comedy for 10 years or something like a lot of them stuff. So I think you got the right mentality and everything else. It's like a time game too, in some aspects.
I know like the things, the shit that I get, of course, is that I don't do enough mics, I don't do enough shows, blah 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 blah. All I can say to that is I promise you that I'm doing as many as I can because I've got all these other things going on.
Yeah, so much stuff.
I know that other people do too, and they make time and they do more stand-up, but those aren't the entirety of my goals. Because I like to make short films and TV and stuff like that, and I want to do that and continue to do that, and so that's
Yeah, and whoever those haters
I'm not gonna start headlining shows and making $5,000 a weekend at the Funny Bone. You know what I mean? I'm just not. That's a 5-year thing for me probably right now. So it's like 3 years from now. You know what I mean, or whatever. I don't know if that's what I want to do. But I also never wanted to be a road comedian because I can't be away from my kids.
Nor is it that fun, really, when you're out there just lonely and stuff on the road.
Well, I would love to do all the shows. I'd love to be on the road. I'd love to do all those things. I just physically don't want to be away from my children as much as possible. So I just didn't.
Yeah. I think you got your priorities right. If there's some haters out there, tweet at us because we'll take you down. We'll take you down. I'll troll you.
No,
I'll
it's
take
fair.
you
It's
down.
totally fair. It's all worthwhile. I just, I used to be more humped up about that stuff, and I feel less concerned about what people think.
And I think up here too, man. I think definitely in the scene too, it is so collaborative too that there is a little bit of that going on all the time, but it's not as much as a lot of scenes,
Yeah, and I think
trying to help.
I think generally there's just a fair amount of respect for what everybody does. Yeah. So it's all good.
I couldn't have more respect for you.
Oh, it's vice versa, buddy. I said on another podcast a couple months ago, I was like, I said that I think you're one of the most naturally funny people here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then the hosts of that podcast were mad that I said that.
Good,
because competition, blood in, blood out.
What's blood in, blood out?
If he's ahead of me, God, then I'm behind him. Blah blah blah.
It's just who's having the most fun, which I had so much, guys. We're getting down to the end of this episode. They go so fast, don't they? They're quick.
They go fast. You keep them in bite sizes, but we run a little long. It felt natural, so I don't think anyone's mad about it.
You're drinking all that soup and spoon feeding yourself coffee out of there.
Dude, I have a full harvest in front of me. Already after I ate a sandwich and nuts that I spilled all over your floor.
Well, Bubba's allergic to nuts. We'll see all that.
Yeah, the dog may get a cashew situation. It said it may have been processed with peanut oils.
Oh no! Before we get out of here, you want to give your social media presence stuff so that everybody can find you on the Webski web?
Yeah. Can I also plug shows?
Yeah, plug whatever you want.
Okay, cool. Yeah, social media at Andy Juett. That's all lovely. Thank you for doing that. And then, depending on when this comes out,
this will be coming out this weekend.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Tuesday, November 17th, I'm at Nerd Melt for a show that Sarah Benincasa is doing for her book release in Los Angeles. So if you're in LA, Tuesday the 17th, I'll be there with Kristen Rand and Ryan Singer and some other great friends, Andy Haynes. It'll be fucking dope.
He's so funny.
Yeah, great dudes and gals. And then Monday the 23rd, I'm doing Hot Tub at the Virgil. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah.
So, hey, LA, let's party.
Come on,
let's get weird
check
with
him out, LA. I know I'm getting some hits out there. Your boy Jewett's going to be out there soon. I want to thank everybody for listening to Part 2 with Andy Juett. Thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you for having me, buddy.
Guys,
I appreciate it.
We will talk to you soon. Thanks again.